people look at, say, telepathy and all this stuff, and they kind of mix it with the whole woo factor. The reality is that telepathy is something that the CIA and the Russian KGB, and before that, the NKVD and the Cheka, they have been involved. And then, of course, even the Nazis, right, with the Anna they were looking at psychic research as a potential means to conduct espionage. The remote viewing program from the CIA and later on DIA and the Army. It's nothing new, and it's probably rooted in science. It's really not voodoo science. It's probably quantum mechanics. Some neuroscientists now speculate that human consciousness, if we can even agree what that means, is probably some sort of a quantum entanglement process that's going on. And if that's the case, we now know through quantum physics that the notion of space and time being three-dimensional representation and time being experienced in a linear fashion isn't really the right model for the way the universe really works. And that space and time, as we know through Einstein, is flexible, and you can compress it and you can stretch it with mass or energy. And we're beginning to realize that this universe is a far more complex ecosystem than we ever imagined. And so it's not that big of a stretch if there was an advanced species that lacked our verbal communication capability. Maybe they don't have a voice box, maybe they don't have a need for vocal language, that nonverbal communication would be something that has been adapted and evolved. And in fact, one only has to look at two dogs entering a room for the very first time and realize there's some sort of nonverbal communication occurring.
Yeah, they're empathic,
hear them, but
sure. Yeah.
There's something going on. They're talking to each other about something. Hey, you're a threat, or you're not a threat. No, I'm a friend, but we're good. We can smell each other's behinds if you want. That communication happens.
That's
in
right.
the wild all the time. And so, is it really that far of a stretch, especially technologically speaking? We're already almost to that point already. When I say almost, maybe 50 years, we're creating capabilities now where we can see into people's dreams electronically. Maybe that's the future. Maybe this speaking, look, it takes time, it takes energy. It's not a really efficient way to communicate. No. And depending on your vocabulary and my level of vocabulary, we may never be able to communicate with each other very effectively. Yeah. Right? So the most efficient way is, direct interface.
Communicating at the speed of
brain
thought.
To brain.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah.
So it's not that, it's not that far off when people say, well, that's a bunch of hooey. Well, is it? I mean, we're kind of doing it now. You've got pilots that can fly a drone, putting on a helmet literally with a thought from 1,000 miles away. I mean, don't look now, but we're there.